Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 4 of Masters of the Universe Revelation. And last we left off, our gang of really interesting allies here were heading into the underworld. They were going there to on their quest to bring the swords and everything back together, and hopefully bring magic back to Eternia. Um, that's the goal, at least. Man at Arms came to help them briefly against Merman, but headed back out. And so it's just our normal squad. It's hard to know what's going to go on next or what's going to happen after this. I assume we'll see probably someone else, like a classic He-Man enemy and everything, classic Masters of the Universe character. But for someone who's like more like casually familiar with the series, it's like I might not be able to tell who it's going to be. Because the ones I really knew have already appeared. The ones like Beast Man and Merman and all of that. It's like I'm not like super familiar with a lot of the characters. Even for like the good guys, it's like I've seen pretty much all the ones I remember outside of She-Ra, but she's not going to be in this, I assume. Considering like the reboot of that already exists and isn't really connected to the rest of the Masters of the Universe stuff at all. But I'm interested to see where this is going to go because I'm still not sure. I'm just kind of unsure as to what the plan is going to be for the future of this series. Because there's already like another season confirmed. And we're not even entirely halfway through this after this episode. We still got one more episode for that. Where is this going to go? Because this was released in batches too, like 5 episodes and then 5 episodes. So presumably the 5th episode's kind of gonna kind of leave off on a cliffhanger or some kind of big twist or something. And my thoughts are it's probably gonna be that, oh, Evelyn is, well, evil. And that she's tricking them, and that this is all some kind of plot to get Skeletor back or something. It's like, that's the only thing I can think of. Unless she just wants to take over herself and, fuck Skeletor. Not fuck Skeletor, but you know what I mean. Though I have always kind of wondered, did they bone? Like, pun intended, by the way, but did they bone? Did Skeletor and Evelyn fuck? Like, actually. I've always kind of wondered that. But at the same time, it's like, it seems like it'd be possible, because the only part of him that's, like, a skull is his head. Like, the rest of him is, like, actual body. So, I guess it's possible. It's just, you never really think about that kind of stuff, I mean, it's like with other like villains in the world, like like the Joker and Harley Quinn fuck, like that's made very, very clear. Just with the entire Rev Up Your Harley scene, that's become really famous from the animated series and is in the comics and everything. It's like that scene basically confirms that they have made Whoopi. But it's like, did Skeletor and Evelyn fuck, or like were they were they a couple in the first place, or were they just like more akin to business partners? I've never really given it a lot of thought, But I kind of I'm morbidly curious now. Like, my mind is racing, and I don't know if that's a good thing. But yeah, so I am curious as to whether or not she wants to bring him back, or if she wants to rule just on her own. But I do think that she is going to betray the alliance because she's fucking evil. And evil is literally in her name. It's like, I don't trust her. Why would you trust her? Like, even if you want to say, like, their goals are aligned, it's like, yeah, she wants to get magic back. I mean, that much I can give you. But after that happens, why would she remain on your side? And I think Tila understands that. I feel Tila probably gets that. It's like, of course she's going to betray them. And I feel like Tila's prepared for that. Um, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Um, because, like, this is this is very different. But I feel like they wouldn't waste Mark Hamill for just like one episode and maybe a couple tiny flashbacks. Because Mark Hamill is like one of the most notable voice actors out there. And I guess actors in general. Um, so it's like, even though he hasn't done like a huge amount of roles like some others out there, he's known because of his roles being so iconic. I mean, you have Luke Skywalker, you have the Joker, you have just so many great ones. And some you wouldn't even believe are him. I mean, he also has some pretty bad roles, like he's in that Rhapsody Street Kids movie, which is like, why? I mean, I guess anything for a paycheck, right? But, yeah, it's just the roles he is known for. And honestly, the Joker is just as iconic for him, maybe even more, than Luke Skywalker. And so, him now voicing an already iconic legendary villain such as Skeletor, who is like insanely well known and hell loved by nerds all over the world. It's like, you think they're gonna waste him? I feel like he's got to come back, right? And He-Man too. It's like, I theorized that right at the beginning, like right when they disappeared. It's like, they've got to come back, right? It just feels like they wouldn't waste that. If they're going to get rid of them, like actually like kill them off, I feel like there's going to be a bigger moment for that. Excuse me. Sorry for the yawning, by the way. It's a cold, tired day. I haven't been awake for long. But yeah. So, I don't know if she's going to betray them here or if that's not going to happen until next episode, but I definitely think that Evelyn is going to betray them, whether she wants to bring Skeletor back or not. So that's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Let's get this shit going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who are we? Who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. That is a poem from a poem by Marianne Williamson. It was used in Aquila and the Bee, a movie that I have seen probably a dozen times, and a movie that I hold very, very close to my heart. Just if for no other reason than because of very fond memories regarding it. It, it's a very, very good film. And like I said in the reaction one, that I would suggest everyone check out. But the poem is definitely the highlight at this moment. I don't know if this was the inspiration for Tila's journey in this, facing her fears, but learning that it's not her fear that she is inadequate, but that she is powerful beyond measure, that frightens her most. I don't know if that was inspired by this poem, but it is so damn well fitting that it might as well be. And this is a concept that shows up time and time again. The idea that a character or a person doesn't fear that they'd be weak, but fears that they would be strong because of what that strength could mean. And it connects to a lot of real life situations, myself included. Because that's one of the reasons why I don't want riches and power and whatnot. Because I'm afraid that with that stuff, I would become corrupted. Remember the line that absolute power corrupts absolutely. But that's not what this poem is talking about. And that's not what is going on with Tila here. It's not the idea of absolute power. It's not the idea of something that will corrupt you. It's the idea of self-worth. The idea that you are important. And obviously in this, it's taking it to a very literal sense, to where Tila is very clearly someone important. She is very clearly a big fucking deal. We see that in there with her powers, her latent powers beginning to awaken. And I don't remember, like, if she is in the original series, I don't remember if she had a big role like this. Probably not. Because you look back at the 80s, and let's be honest, it wasn't that great for women. Especially in media, women were seen very much as weaker and more as sidekicks. And even when they did fight and have shows of their own, they definitely were not as strong as their male contemporaries. She-Ra was never on the level of He-Man in the classic shows. That it just wasn't the case. So here you have a modern version of the Masters of the Universe, and He-Man's not the main character this time. It's Tila. It's a girl. And I feel like Kevin Smith and the team wanted to kind of flip the script on this. Wanted to make it, well, more modern in that way. For so long, guys have gotten to live their power fantasies. They have gotten to see themselves as the heroes. And this isn't the first series by any means to switch this up, but let the girls have a turn. Let's let the girls have a turn to be in this, like, buffed out kind of superhero type series. It's very different. It's a very different desire than something like Powerpuff Girls, which is like this little kid's superhero kind of thing. It's not the same kind of feeling as something like, oh, guys have had stuff like He-Man and Thundercats for so long, let's give the girls that same kind of thing. A much bigger, a much more intense, a much more, beefy kind of situation here. And it still works, like from just a storytelling perspective. Because it by no means is trying to invalidate Adam. Like, they're not making him, like, look weak or making him look like he's, like, worthless in comparison to Teela. That's not what they're going for. They're not trying to just, like, make Teela just, like, this so much better character and make Adam weaker by comparison. They're showing that she can be on his level. That she's not just a sidekick. That she's not just a secondary character here. That she's just as important as him. It's equality. And that's the kind of stuff we fight for. We don't want women to be seen as superior. We want equality. We want to be treated the same. And that does mean in every way. That doesn't just mean positively. Guys, girls, envies, we should all be treated the same, both positively and negatively. Guys shouldn't get, like, worse punishment, neither should girls. Neither should envies. If it's the same crime, the punishment should be the same. But there are just issues that stack up with how things have been. Women get away with certain crimes a lot easier and are even believed in terms of certain crimes easier. And guys get away with certain crimes easier. It's just, there's some crimes where guys are persecuted harder and some where women would be. And that's not equal. And then you also have the other side of the coin. Women, on average, still get paid less than men for the same jobs. And it's gross. Women are still seen as lesser by so many people. As weaker. As just not as good. There are people out there who still believe that women shouldn't be in power. That women should be subservient. Sitting at home, being a house mom and, doing dishes, cleaning, making food, all of that. And it's fucking disgusting. And the worst part is there's women who believe that. Because they've been brainwashed by the men in their lives for their entire lives. And I'm going on this rant. I'm rambling on about this because it's important to this series. Teela is the antithesis of that. Teela is a massive middle finger to gender roles. Teela is a hero. She's not the sidekick. She's not a background character. She's the hero of this story. It doesn't invalidate Adam. It doesn't make him weaker. It just shows that she is equal to him and that she is not going to sit back and let shit happen when she could save the day. Even if she has fears, even if she has troubles, like we all do. Everyone has that. But she is going to be a hero nonetheless. She's going to say, fuck your gender roles. Let's let girls have a turn to be badasses. To be buff badasses with awesome swords, fighting against the powers of evil. So, I really, really like how this series is doing this, but making it feel natural too, not making it feel too preachy. Because even though I very much agree with this point, it can come across as preachy if it's done wrong. And if it does, it doesn't actually help because it'll turn people away. If it's too preachy, a lot of people will turn away. But unfortunately, there's also people who will turn away if it's said at all and claim it's preachy if it's said at all. Those people are just dumb. But yeah, if it's too preachy, it's just like people aren't going to listen as well. And it hurts the message. You want to have that balance. And I think this show really does get that right. But let's actually talk about the content of the episode outside of that, because all we really talked about was Tila's little overcoming her fears and adhering to her strengths here. So they go down into Subternia and are confronted by Scareglow. I guess the guardian of Subternia, who has power over fear and is, I guess, a remnant of Skeletor somehow. I don't know exactly how it's supposed to work, but something like that, I guess. So he sends them all into separate illusions. Tila has an illusion. We have an illusion with Andra, Roboto, and Beastman. And then one with Orko and Evelyn. We've already talked enough about Tila. She has to face her fears, fight an illusory form of He-Man. We got that. And that kind of comes to a head in the end with the presumably real Adam showing up when they're sent to Preternia to get the other sword. So we'll see how that goes next time. But let's talk about these other ones. So first, Orko and Evelyn. Orko and Evelyn are sent to Orko's homeland. And there they find no one. No source of magic, no other of his kind. I can't remember what they're called right now. They said it multiple points, I just can't remember. But this was definitely a character building part of this episode. We find out that Orko's name is a basically babyfied nickname of what his real name was supposed to be. Because he was young, he couldn't pronounce his real name properly, so he said Orko when his real name was Oracle. Which is actually really clever, and I don't know if that was actually the intent in the original series. Like, was his name always supposed to be close to Oracle, and that was kind of the idea? Or is that something that Kevin Smith and them came up with? Because if that's something that they just came up with for this series, that's really impressive. That's really good. But we see that he was kind of like expected of greatness by his parents and those around him, and those expectations could just not be lived up to. They were so high that he just had no way of living up to them, and it's probably what caused him to have trouble with magic. It's probably the reason why he was never the great oracle, the great sorcerer he was expected to be. When too high of expectations are placed on a person, it can cripple them rather than help them. It can have the complete opposite effect. You have to temper those expectations with reality. Sometimes a person's not going to be able to live up to that kind of stuff. Sometimes they may not want to. They may want to go in a different direction with their life. That's why I hate it when, like, parents try to force their kids to, have the ideal life, get the best grades in school, go to college, become a doctor or shit. It's like, let your kids live their own lives. Don't try to force this ideal on them, because it's just going to make them resent that. You can maybe suggest it, hint at the idea here and there, but don't try to force it. If you push things too far, it's going to have the opposite effect. It's not going to help. So we see by the end, Orko comes into his power much more than ever before, allowing his friends to escape while he and Scareglow are teleported away. It's not confirmed by any means that he's dead. I don't believe he is. He just teleported them away so that his friends could escape to safety. I'm standing by that. And it's not because I don't want him to be dead, even though that's true. I genuinely don't think he is. I genuinely feel there's no evidence to support that idea. But then we have Roboto, Beastman, and Andra, who are sent to a war-torn land and have to fight like these armies of... It looks like beasts at first, but then it ends up being zombies, and it's like, okay. Confusing, but okay. And I looked it up. Roboto's voice, Justin Long, is not Baymax. But he might have done that as a bit, maybe like a little reference, like a little ha-ha kind of moment. Because it was so fucking similar. The voice was so fucking similar, but also the things he was saying was so Baymax. It was so actively like Baymax, and it's like... That's why it had me wondering. But no, it was different voice actor and all. But it might have been a reference nonetheless. But yeah, we don't see much of their fight. They're just fighting zombies. There's not really much of anything that goes on in that storyline. And to be fair, I don't think there would have been, because we have Beastman, who, let's be honest, not the brightest bulb in the bunch. His goal is just to serve Evelyn, so that's his reasoning for wanting to get out of there. Roboto's a super intelligent robot. Not really much to develop there. Andra has a lot of room for development, but I don't think we were going to get that there, for one. And for two, Andra is definitely a sidekick character. Let's be completely honest. She is a sidekick character. But again, she's also a sidekick character to Tila, to another girl. So it's like you're still seeing a girl in power in the main character role, but you also just have a sidekick character as well. And possible lover, too. I mean, I'm still on board with that ship. Not only because I just think it's cute, but honestly, there's kind of some evidence for it. There's some dialogue and just visual evidence to kind of support the idea that they're together. And I don't know if it'll ever confirm it. I know, obviously, Kevin Smith is very supportive of the community. His daughter is bi. But I don't know if, like, he has plans to go into that, really, considering the dire situation and everything with trying to get the magic back. But, yeah. So not much is given into that story. Orko and Evelyn's story goes into Orko a lot. It goes into Evelyn as well a bit. We learn that her name is just Lynn. She added the evil part herself. And that she also seems to have like some issues with what people think of her. But the reason why I didn't touch on that much after talking about Orko is because I also think she's bullshitting. I don't trust her. I have no reason to trust her. I feel like she is going to betray them. I mean, I'm honestly 90% sure she's going to betray them. It's that clear to me. There is literally no reason to think that she has the positive goals in mind. Like, yeah, it's trying to make you think that she's on their side. Like, even with the thing of her trying to save Orko there. Honestly, I think she could have done it if she actually wanted to. I think her power being as weak as it is, I don't think it's as weak as it is. It's weakened for sure. I mean, that you can't get out of. But I think it's not as weak as it is. I think she could have saved Orko if she actually wanted to. I think Tila actually, like, kind of being accusatory towards her at the end and saying, like, you didn't try hard enough. Or and actually, I think Andra said you didn't try hard enough. But Tila getting upset as well and everything, I think they were very much in the right regarding that. I definitely think that Evelyn is going to betray them. Now, the ending is the interesting part for sure because of Adam's return. What does this mean? They're sent to Preternial. Is this just where Adam was sent those years ago when that incident happened? Is this actually Adam? Or is something else going on here? I'm genuinely curious what this is trying to say, what this means. And again, I didn't think he was going to be dead for good or anything. I figured both he and Skeletor would be brought back, but yeah, the question is, okay, what's happening here? What is this? What does this all mean? What is this all about? I guess we're going to have to find out. But we'll find that out next time. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Masters of the Universe Revelation? And next time we get to, I guess, the mid-season finale is what we could call it. The finale of the first batch that was released. And considering what this episode left off on, that kind of makes sense. That kind of works. I could see how that could lead into next episode being a sort of mid-season finale with how this series was released, which the way this was released was stupid, by the way. Netflix has really stupid fucking release schedules and all. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to change. Netflix is really trying to shoot itself in the foot in a lot of ways. But that's neither here nor there right now. Either way, like I said, tell me your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.